Hello and welcome to the Punters Lounge podcast. We're looking ahead to day 3 of Royal Ascot. I'm pleased to say that I'm joined with the person who's known as the Brigadier on the Punters Lounge forum, Stephen Simmons. How are you, Stephen?
Very well, Darren. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. We've obviously got a cracking week to look forward to. And day 3, of course, features the biggest race of the week, the Gold Cup. And it looks quite an open renewal, Steve. We've obviously got Coltrane and Alderoff at the top of the market. So do you like one of those two? We're going to look elsewhere.
Well, they've both got good chances, Darren, haven't they? I mean, Coltrane loves Ascot, got a great record there. I am going to take them on, though. I think they're around about 3-1 each. So that's, I'm happy to take them on. And I'm going to go with the John Gosden and Fady Gosden runner here, Courage Mon Ami. I think it may tighten up in the betting as well. It's an unbeaten horse that's going to be ridden by Frankie Dettori. A lot of improvement to come there. I mean, it only won a handicap at Goodwood last time, but it's a horse that's well bred. It should stay. I think 2.5 miles will be well within its compass. And what I do like about the horse, it's got an official mark at the moment of 106. Now, the front two, Alderoff and Coltrane, are both rated 116. So it's only £10 short of what they've achieved. And this is a horse only having its 4th ever run. I believe it's been working all over Gregory at home, who's rated 110. So, those figures are putting him banging there with a chance, and he may well improve for the longer trip. I can see him being well supported, and that would be my selection there.
Well, we're going to have the Frankie factor, aren't we? I mean, quite a few of these horses during the week are already shortening in the betting.
Exactly. If he starts having a couple of winners, God knows what these type of prices are going to go off there. But no, I'm quite sweet on the chances of that one. The front two have got obvious chances. There is a stamina doubt about Alderoff. He's never raced beyond 2 miles either, but I think he'll stay. So, and I also think Yibir could be an interesting runner. He's a classy horse of Charlie Appleby's. He's never raced beyond 1.5 miles, so we really don't know. But if he does get it, he could be a player there as well.
Yeah, he certainly could. I mean, we have to mention Aidan O'Brien's contender, Emily Dickinson. Yeah. He's got such a fantastic record in the race, and I think his team are quite keen on Emily Dickinson's chances, aren't they?
Yeah, it's just that flop last time, wasn't it, at Leopardstown? Yeah. I mean, had she gone, she was well back that day. It was 4-5 into 2-7. Had she won that night, you'd probably be looking at a 2-1, even less shot here. But she just blotted her copybook that day, and you just wonder now. I mean, are we all getting a bit carried away, as you say? You say, Brian, Gold Cup got to have a big chance, but I don't know. I think there's a few question marks still for her to answer.
I suppose we should mention a former winner of the race, Subjectivist. Obviously, he's had his injury problems, but when he went to Meydan back in March on the Dubai World Cup night, the 3rd to Broome isn't a bad effort, given that he'd only had one in February prior. Since his Gold Cup win in 2021.
No, absolutely. He won this, 5 lengths 2 years ago. Charlie Johnston's come out and been very bullish about his chances as well. It wouldn't be a shock if he ran well, but I don't know. He's just had such long layoff, and he's obviously a horse that's had problems. But as you say, there's nothing wrong with a Dubai 3rd. Only beaten 5 lengths that night behind Broome, and then that's quite good form. So, and obviously the main thing is, he'll stay. We're talking about Yibir and Courage Mon Ami not going beyond 2 miles, Alderoff not going beyond 2 miles. We know Coltrane will stay, but we know Subjectivist will definitely stay. So, yeah.
Right, that's the Gold Cup then. Let's go back to the first race on the card. It's for the 2-year-olds over 5 furlongs, the Norfolk Stakes. And Carl Burke has got the favourite. Of course, we know he does so well with his 2-year-olds. He got elite status, who was really, really impressive at Sandown when winning the National Stakes on a second start.
Yes, very, very impressive that night. Wasn't she? Carl Burke was very, very bullish about her chances afterwards for this race.
Sorry, I said she. I don't know why I said she. Is a he?
It is a he, of course.
Because I'm obviously I'm confusing you as well there.
Yes, it is, of course. Yes. No, he was impressive that night, but obviously there's some great matchups this week. But I mean, this one, elite status against Wesley Ward's American Rascal is right up there, really. I mean, American Rascal, the Wesley Waterhorses only had the one run. That was on the dirt, 4.5 furlongs, bolted up that day. 10.5 lengths out of Lady Aurelia, who loved Ascot. I mean, won twice here. So very won the Commonwealth Cup. So how good is he? That's the issue we have here. But a great matchup between the two. Time form, interestingly, have got elite status rated £6 higher. So maybe just swinging towards elite status, maybe.
Have two starts. So and also as well a listed race. So there's obviously more scope to rate him higher than American Rascal.
Yes, absolutely, and it's very hard, obviously, translating American form into against British form, isn't it, as well? So, one outsider I can mention here, Darren, I think could run well. In our first podcast, I mentioned Devious for the Coventry that I'd picked up a bit of a word for from Ireland. It doesn't go for the Coventry. It's still in this race. I believe this is now the target. I did read an interview earlier today with Donegal O'Brien saying how what a lovely horse it is, and he thinks it will run well in either the Coventry or the Norfolk. So hopefully it's coming here. It's blowing up a little bit this morning. I think each way that might be the value in the race. It's only had the one run. That was at Naas, I think it was, or Navan. But it was impressive that day. And that could be a bit of value each way against the front two.
I suppose we should, we always have to tip out for Brian. Johan Brahm is his likely runner here. Was a winner at Naas back in May, but only won by
that's
half
right. I mean, he anything O'Brien, and you have to have a good look at. But this will probably be between the front two. But don't dismiss that Devious. It's an interesting run of that one for Aidan's son Donegal.
Certainly is. Right, we'll move on to the 305. It's handicap over 1.5 miles, the King George V stakes. And not surprisingly, this is going to be wide open, but the draw is going to be crucial here, isn't it? As we record this on Monday morning, we obviously don't know the draw at the moment.
Sure, that's right. I mean, there's 19 runners there, it is a real quandary without knowing the draw or even the field, to be honest. But there's been good money around for Tagabawa, the Charlie Appleby horse. Not seen him since he won at Kempton in April on the all-weather. He's got £12 for that as well, but there does seem to be sustained support for him, early sustained support, but seems short enough, to be honest, at the moment. Darren at 7-2. I thought Wonder Legend was interesting, the James Fanshawe horse. Very impressive at Doncaster. Got put up £13 for that. I was interested in this horse, but that win was on soft ground, and I was just waiting to see. We haven't spoken about the ground yet. They only had 1.8 millimetres of rain yesterday, Sunday, dry today. There are thunderstorms due tomorrow, so there may be. The official website is saying between 2 to 6 millimetres. If that's the case,
so it's not much, is it?
No, that's just going to put it back to where it was. So I think the soft ground horses maybe this week might be struggling at the moment, but who knows with the British weather.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's hard enough to predict the winner of the race, let alone what the weather's going to do. Looking at I said the draw's crucial. I mean, has tended to be high numbers, although, I mean, Huckham was drawn in 4, but then obviously he's gone to do really well since.
Exactly.
So it was probably exactly. So probably just a spot on the handicap. We've had a couple of 8s, including Secret State last year, but generally speaking, a high draw. I mean, in the last 10 years, we've had something drawn in 22 and something drawn in 20 wins. So, So again, you tend to want to be drawn high. I mean, and even 8 really essentially is still fairly high, isn't it?
Yeah, as we said on the first podcast, Darren, I think if you're drawn very low, you can, with so many horses jostling for position, you can find trouble that way. And unless you've got a dream run up on the rails there, I'd rather be drawn out wide and have come there with a run and have no trouble in running.
Or your well handicapped group horse like Huckham.
Yes.
But generally speaking, I think, I mean, you're always trying to narrow handicap down, and I think you can almost say, well, the very low numbers, I'll just scratch him straight away. Almost,
I wouldn't say
Or would you
I
would you
do
not
this
look at it like
at
that?
Goodwood. I do that. If you know,
Yes.
like I think you can literally say anything drawn 8 and upwards. So I look at a race like at Goodwood where I just take the bottom 8 numbers and try and find the winner out of those. It's very rare for them to win from that high. I think Ascot's not as similar, but obviously, as we say, the facts say you drawn out wide helps rather than drawn out low. So.
Well, we'll move on to the Ribblesdale Stakes Group 2 for fillies over a mile and a half for 3-year-olds. Obviously, the Ascot version of the Oaks, and we could have a rare odds-on favourites this week. There's not too many of them. Al Asifar for John and Tadey Gosden, who, of course, absolutely bolted up in a listed race at Goodwood's fairly recently, back on the 11th of June.
Yes, I think she wins, Darren, to be honest. Interestingly, the Oaks winner Soul Sister, Time Form have her rated 128, and Save the Last Dance, who was second to Soul Sister, also rated 128. Alice Sifa's rated 124 with a big P with that publication. So that I'm just saying that to show you she's near enough, arguably the best 3-year-old filly around. So she'll stay okay on breeding. The Gosdens have won this race 4 out of the last 6 years. Going up in Triple B fine, fast ground fine. As long as she's okay from Goodwood, she didn't break her hair that day, did she? I think she wins, to be honest. I think she's head and shoulders above these. And
I mean, it doesn't look an overly strong race, does it? I mean, Infinite Cosmos was obviously third in the Mizzidora behind Soul Sister, so I mean, that's not bad form.
Yeah.
But again, you've got no real classic for me. Blue Stockings next in the betting, but I mean, she was beaten last time at Newbury. Be Happy for Aidan O'Brien, second in the Linkfield Oaks trial. But again, I mean, you're not saying that's especially strong, and we've got a lot of quite big prices in here. So if she backs up that Goodwood performance, like you say, she's going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah, I think all those you've mentioned, as you say, are sort of Group 3 fillies, really. Yeah. I think the exception might be Blue Stocking. I know Rafe Beckett likes her a lot, and that wasn't a bad run at Newbury, and they missed the Oaks to come here. So this has been the plan for the last couple of months. But I would have been interested in her until we got the news that Alice Sifa was going to be supplemented last week. So
yeah,
no, I'm pretty keen on Alice Sifa. So I think she'll win. I think.
Well, we're going to move on to the 5 o'clock. That race was pretty easy. This is going to be pretty tough. The Britannia Stakes on the straight mile. I mean, it's already 8-1 the field, isn't it? And John and Tadey Gosden have got the favourite again in Sir Rab, who was a winner at Leicester last time. Certainly comes in here very unexposed. But, I mean, this must be one of the hardest races of the week. 3-year-olds, so most of them are quite unexposed anyway, over a mile, and there's going to be 30 of them.
Yeah, it's very, very hard. 59 declared at the moment. 30 will run, as you say, on the straight mile. Zirab, you mentioned there, first handicap for the Gosdens. He's actually drawn. He's number 38 at the moment, so he needs 8 to come out, which you'd expect probably would happen, but we'll see. Interesting one of theirs, Canute of Aidan O'Brien, well related as they all are out of Alice Springs. Won a premier handicap at Navan last week easily. And a £5 penalty for that should get him into the race. That was 10 furlongs though, so dropping back to a mile. Although it's okay to have a horse that stays further than a mile on this stiff track like Ascot. But as you say, Darren, it's without knowing the draw, tough race. There's no standouts there for me at the moment. I would just like to a very big price. I'd like to mention the top one there, Finn's Charm. Of Charlie Johnston's. That was second in the German 2,000 guineas last time. So that brings, obviously, the German 2,000 guineas, nothing like ours or the Irish, but it does bring classic form into our handicap. But it does have to shoulder top weight. So, yeah, 33 to 1, though. I just thought that might have a each way chance with all the extra places that the firms will be thrown around come the day, but nothing as yet.
Someone who rides obviously Jamie Spencer's well known for riding the straight course well, but Hayley Turner does as well. Just looking, she's riding Docklands here, who won over course and distance, granted on soft ground, which he's highly unlikely to get, but it was really impressive that day at Ascot.
It was, but as you say, the problem is the soft ground. It's all soft ground form for him. So, but Hayley's got an excellent record on the straight track. It's quite strange how her and Jamie Spencer seem to ride it so well. I think they they tend to wait and wait and wait, don't they? I mean, we know that's the way Spencer rides, but if you've got confidence in your horse, that helps, I suppose.
Right, move on from the very tricky Britannia to the only slightly easier Hampton Court Stakes,
Yeah.
mile and a quarter, Group 3, again for 3-year-olds which have not won a Group 1 or Group 2 pattern race. And Aidan O'Brien, drum roll, just heads the betting here, was a winner of a Group 3 at the Curragh last time.
Yeah, gets a £4 penalty for that. I think that's the problem here. It wouldn't be one for me, Darren, to be honest. I'd be looking elsewhere. I think a good form line here is the London Cup, the handicap one at Newbury from last month. That's always a race that works out well. Many group horses have come out of that race over the years. Bold Act was second in the race. The horse that finished third, Exoplanet, was drawn, I think it was 16 or 18 of 18 or 16 of 16. That was a bad draw on the day. It put me off fancying him on the day, but he ran an absolute blinder, went the long way around, jumped a piece of litter, believe it or not, 2 furlongs out, which was a strange one, and actually finished a neck behind Bold Act. He's £6 worse off for that. So the pounds and ounces people will say, well, the horse can't turn the tables. Well, I think if you go back and look at the race, the trip he had was a wrong one, and it certainly went into my notebook at the time as being able to win a Group 3. So that would be my feelings at the moment. I'd be with Exoplanet, Roger Varians each way.
Obviously, again, we don't know the draw here. Just looking at the last 10 winners, Huntinghorn in 2018 was drawn in 12. Sangarius, Sir Michael Stout's horse, in 2019 was drawn in 8. But every other winner in the last 10 years has been drawn 7 or lower. And the max field is 16 here. So again, you know, whereas maybe looking at high numbers over slightly further around on the round course at Ascot, over a mile and a quarter, certainly in this race, it tends to be that you want to be drawn 7 or under.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? We'll keep an eye on that one. One other horse, probably the form horse, and need to mention really, Darren, is Carnarvon of Jack Charlton's. I mean, that's arguably the form horse she is. She was 4th in the 1,000 guineas behind Morge and Tahira, and then was 3rd in the Oaks to Soul Sister. So she's bringing Group 1 classic form.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, that was an incredible run in the Oaks, given how good the first 2 have looked prior to the Oaks. And I mean, you like to think that it's a pretty strong piece of form. You know, those first 2 fillies looked really, really good going into that race.
But yes, exactly. And I know that Shannon felt at the time, I remember reading at the time, he wasn't sure whether she would stay. So dropping back from 12 furlongs to 10 furlongs, you know, she could be a definite player here. Like I say, arguably she is the form horse, bringing Group 1 form into a Group 3. So, you know, I can see her running the big race.
She looks like quite a big price, best price of 8 to 1 at the moment.
Yeah, Timeform have her top rated.
Yeah, so it's not a surprise, really, is it? Given the Oaks run.
No, exactly. And I think because it's Jack, had it been Aidan O'Brien, Michael Stout, we might be talking about something half the price. But Jack Shannon in his first year.
Yeah, no, it certainly looks like an interesting contender. I think Thursday is one of the trickiest punting days of the week because we get to the finale, and again, it's a massive handicap. 29 is the maximum field. Buckingham Palace Stakes over 7 furlongs, and I mean we're already double figures the field, 10 to 1 the field. Perotto for Roger Varian just heads the betting at the moment, and that horse was 7th in the Victoria Cup last time over course and distance. Of course, on much ground he's likely to face, and it wasn't a bad effort. When he was a
very good effort to the Hunt Cup, and
has he got to go?
If money talks, he's been back from 12s into 6s for that race, and 7 furlongs doesn't look his trip. He looks a mile. He won the Britannia 2 years ago for Marcus Collins. You know, there's a few of these are doubly engaged as well.
Perotto is in the Hunt Cup. I just the final decks have just come through as we've been recorded. So just checking that. So Perotto won't be going.
No.
Yes. Yeah. So you can take the favourite out already.
Well, exactly. These races are a bit like that at the moment, aren't they? I think there's a Clive Cox horse here, Kingdom Come. This is his only entry. looked very good on the all-weather this year, and then he ran over a mile at Newbury. He didn't get home that day. Wasn't disgraced. Finished fourth. Lots of Ryan's been booked. Back to 7 furlongs. That's the type of horse I would be looking to play in a race like this, Darren, to be honest. And what I do like is this is his only entry, so he's not going to be going elsewhere, you would have thought, anyway, and jockeyed up. So,
yeah, it looks like he's set to go. Your best bet on day 4, like I say, so it looks a very, very tricky punting card.
I'm going to play it safe here. I know I didn't last time. Ala Sifa. I think that wins the Riversdale. And each way, if you're looking for an each way one, would be Courage Mon Ami in the Gold Cup. I think that looks a bit of value. Unbeaten, Frankie on board. I could see that shortening up with the punters.
And that wraps up our view of day 3 at Royal Ascot.